Okay, so hi, good evening everyone. Welcome to the BISP Solutions. My name is Anjali, and today we will discuss some of the business rules which are covered under the planning and budgeting cloud services. So let's get started. So basically today let's start with the MD shift function. And let me first brief you about this function. So basically we use the MD shift function just to copy the data, or sometimes we need to like suppose I need to take the closing inventory in the form of opening inventory for the current year. So if we talk about the closing inventory, so suppose in the financial year 2018 my closing inventory is 9999. Okay, this is my closing inventory in the December. Now I just want that automatically this December this period balance will automatically carry forward to the next year as an opening inventory. So for that purpose I just want that if I use the MD shift function, so automatically the last period data will convert to the opening inventory. In the same fashion, if I talk about the 2019 ending inventory as I mean that closing inventory. So we all know whatever the closing inventory we have in the application, it automatically becomes, and in the accounts also, that particular ending inventory will become the opening inventory, and we are just doing the forecasting on the basis of that closing inventory. So similarly we have the ending inventory for financial year 2019. So for January, February and March we have this 1111, then 4 times 2 and 4 times 3. So we just want that this amount will be carry forward to the next year, and from the February month, because the January will take carry forward from the last year December closing inventory. And after that, if we talk about the next period, that is February, it will take the amount from the previous year. So we just want to prepare a kind of business rule so that I do not need to re-enter the amount. Automatically the amount will carry forward. So we will discuss two rules here. First I'll just show you how to do this opening inventory, and before that we have some other examples also. So we'll discuss about the MD shift function in a two different ways, right? So first I'll just create one business rule. Let me first show you the requirement I have. So first I'll show you the business rule which I have created. This is the rule basically. Here I have just fixed the base data. It's totally depend upon the requirement that do we need to fix all of the dimensions, or we just want to fix we just want to limit it only till the base data, or only few members or dimensions. So I have just fixed the base data so that my business rule will work only for this particular instance. So 5800 is the member of salary. 5800 is the salary. So this is a kind of heading, or you can say just for the sake of block creation I am using here the 5800, then parenthesis open, then I have just used the condition if, like if then at the rate is descendants I have used because in my application, if I show you, I have the operating expenses. It is a parent member, and under that we have different members. So operating expenses will include all the total employee expenses, and under the total employee expenses we have the salaries, taxes, payroll taxes and so on. So for that purpose, today our agenda is to calculate the salaries by using the MD shift. So I have just used the is descendants of operating expenses. Then this is a plan scenario we have used here, and 5800 is the salary, the member name of salary is equal to @MD shift. Now this I need to explain this because if we see the script of this MD shift, so what is the meaning of MD shift? MD shift calculation function for SBase shift a series of data values across multiple dimension ranges. So what it is doing, it is basically shift the series of data across the multiple dimension ranges. So here you can see the syntax @MD shift parenthesis. First we are using the member name. So if you see in the business rule, I have used the member name as 5800 salaries. This is very first syntax. Then and this will all calculate for the plan scenario. Okay, so MD member name comma shift count 1. So if you can read here, then parameters we have member name is any valid single member name or a function that returns a single member. So we are using here 5800 salaries. Then shift count 1 to shift count x, that means integer that defines the number of member positions to shift. So we are just want here that whatever the value here in the 5800, it will shift to the next year, or we are just taking here the previous year data. That's why I'm using the -1, and period is a period dimension, nothing more. So 11 month, why they are using the 11 month, let me show you that also. So if you can see, then here I have defined all the things. Let me just close this. Yes, so my requirement is basically I have financial year 22, this is my previous year, and financial year 23 is the current year. Okay, let's just ignore this for a while. I'm just talking about this financial year 22 forecast scenario and the 23 is plan scenario. So here you can see the 5800 salaries I have taken in the account in the rows, and facilities resources is the entity. Now my December month data of the financial year 22, I just want this data will shift to the next year as in January month. So December data 134500 will automatically transfer when I run this business rule. So let's create the business rule for the same. First I just want to explain the rule, then we will create it. Okay, so basically again let me open the business rule, and this is the business rule. Let me just expand this. Okay, so here base data fix, then forecast is a scenario I have fixed. It's totally up to the requirement, we can ignore this double fix. I've just used a nested fix here. Then @MD shift parenthesis open the member name, then again see the syntax dimension name. Dimension we are using here the period dimension, and we just want the previous year 11 months data to be shifted to the next year. So because December data will be carried forward to the January month, that is why I'm using 11 comma period is the dimension, then double comma we are using here as per the syntax. We can even specify the ranges. Then -1 is using for the previous year comma year dimension. So what all dimension you want to move, you just need to explain that in this particular syntax. Okay, so we will create again this rule and we'll see if this is working or not. Okay, so move to the application, and I have already shown you the requirement. This we want to calculate. So in the next sheet I will reconnect it to the plan 1. Okay, maybe I need to recreate the user. Oh no, somebody has removed the demo application, so we need to create a sample vision application once again. So let's just wait for a few seconds. So like we are going to use this particular basic formula or the basic business rule for the empty shift function. After that we'll discuss the opening inventory. It is also using the empty shift function, although in the planning application there are some other way to copy the data, to shift the data. We can go with the smart push, and we can go with the data copy function also, but today we are just discussing only empty shift. Okay, so it's already created. Now I'll directly switch to the rules under the navigator. So let's expand this EPM cloud version. We want to work only with plan win cube rules. Okay, I hope this is not correctly completed. Okay, let me just switch to the another browser. When we expand the plan 1, then there are some pre-built rules. Those were not exist, that's why I thought this is not created exactly, but let's try. So here I am just gonna give the name MD shift function. The cube is plan 1, application name is version. So you can go with it two ways, like either you can go with a designer view as well as script mode. So I personally prefer the script mode, that's why I'm using that. If you want to switch to the designer view, then you can go with that also. The main thing is just we need to follow the exact syntaxes so that our rule will work. So either I can directly copy the previous business rule because I have freshly created that, but here today let's write it again. So already the base data has been fixed. Now I will just fix one scenario. Forecast. Spell should not be error. Forecast. Right, and we will work on the dimension dimension account 5800 with the alias name of salaries. Let's directly write here. I will check later on that is the spelling is correct or not. Again it is removed. Oh, maybe it goes to the maintenance, or somebody has recreated the service. Okay, let me check if the other instance is available. There is EPBC's application. Let's create the Vision application once again. Such things will normally consume a lot of time, but let's see. I hope the requirement is clear to all of you. If you can see, then we can repeat the things. Like here I have just used the financial year 21 budget scenario and financial year 22. So my rule will work for December will carry forward or shift to the January month for the next period. Similarly, if financial year 22 will convert from plan to budget, then automatically the next year will be my plan financial year 23. So in that case, you can see 612000 will shift to the next month, that is from December to January. So this rule will work in this way. Now let's see if the application gets created. So rather than wasting time, because maybe the application got removed again, so I'll just directly copy the same, and if you have doubt, then we can discuss it once again. Go to the rules. Okay, again it looks like that somebody again removed the application. Okay, let me just close this. Right, this time correctly opened. See, there are so many rules in the Vision application already exist. Now we'll create the MD shift function rule. Okay, so either you can write the member name or simultaneously you can take the member name plus alias both. So personally I prefer the name of member plus alias so that there will not be any kind of confusion, because some people are not aware about these member names who are not have been practiced. So let's see the member name plus alias both. So I will just take this. So first we have fixed the base data, then for the creation of block, or for the sake of understanding that we are going to get the calculation here in the salaries, we have just taken the inverted commas, then parenthesis open, then I have applied the if condition and then use is descendant of operating expenses. So you can see we have the operating expenses. After the gross profit we have this heading, and under the operating expenses we have operating expenses before allocations, then 6000 is for the total expenses. We have employee expenses, then under that we have all these members. So right now we are just going to calculate one child of the operating expenses. This is the parent member, that's why I have just used the @ is descendants of operating expenses. If this is true, that means this rule will work only if the operating expenses descendants have been there. So only this rule will work there in that case. And then we have just fixed the plan scenario. Not fix, I just want to get my calculation here. 5800 salary is equal to @MD shift parenthesis open, then again use the 5800 the member name, and then comma 11. Why we have used the 11? Because our requirement says that before December we have these 11 months and we just only want the December month value to be carry forward or shift. So 11 comma period is for the period dimension, -1 is used for the previous year, and then year. Now let's try to validate the same. Then I just close the parenthesis, and if basically the syntax should be correct, only then the rule will work. So every time you create any kind of rule, there will not be any single mistake of comma, parenthesis, inverted commas or else. The rule validated with no error. See, now we'll just deploy the same. So deployment was also successful, and then we launched the same. So these are the 3 common steps which we are generally using here in the business rule. First we create write the business rule, then validate and save, then we deploy the same, and then lastly we need to launch it. Once it is successfully launched without any errors, then we can test it simultaneously. So 302157, we are using the instance. We need to create one user quickly for the sake of testing. So I already have the user. Let me just change the password. For now, I'm just taking all the roles to this user. So that it will not give any kind of error in the smart view. So here in this smart view, we'll connect it to the new instance. Okay, so it is connected now. We will select the cube on which we have just created the business rule, ad hoc analysis. Alright, now if you can see my first requirement sheet, then I have taken in the rows all the years, then scenario, and then accounts. So I'll do this again. I'll just pivot the year, and I just want to pivot the scenario as well. Okay, so here we'll take forecast or budget, anything we can take here. So we'll just take the same forecast plan. So first we'll take the previous year. Let's take financial year 23. If you want to see the previous year, current year in the application, then you need to go to the tools. Under the tools, you have the substitution variables. There you can see the current year and the next year. So let me just show you that. So this is the home page. Here just need to click on the tools, then under the variables, see, we have these substitution variables. So here you can see the last year is financial year 22, current year we have 23, and so we can take the forecasting for current year, right? And the next year is 24, so we will take the same. Here I just want to take the plan scenario for FY24, and then in the account we will take the member 5800. Any entity I can take here because we have not fixed any single entity, so we can it will work on any of the entity. When we don't fix the things, then the rule will work for whole of the application, right? So basically for creating less number of blocks, we are using only those on which we need to exactly see the calculation. Okay, so here I will just take the year total. Remove only January. Refresh. Let's expand this till December. Alright, so now I'll just quickly enter a few data here. Submit data, And what we want now, we want this December data from the forecast scenario financial year 23 to be shifted to the next year automatically in the January month. Okay, now let's try to run the rule. MD shift function and then launch. So if the rule will work, then automatically this 8500 will reflected here in the January. Let's refresh. No, there is something, an error, because we cannot see that. Maybe there is we've taken the wrong thing, or we need to test it. 5800 salaries, or maybe the, I hope the application has not been removed. Alright, let's validate this once again. -1 is used for the previous year, so the requirement is correct. Here we have used that financial year 23. Okay, basically we need to take the previous to previous year. Okay, so financial year 23 and 23 it will work this time, because we have not specified the scenario exactly. So let's take here FY22 and here FY23, then we'll test it once again. Submit data and then we'll refresh the same. We have basically specified the 11 months and -1 for the previous year. See, the 8500 automatically comes here in the January month. So this we want to be shifted, and you can see this for the next year as well. Like here we have used the budget plan. Okay, so budget first I use for the financial year 21 and the same I have used for the financial year 22. When I have taken the financial year 21 budget, simultaneously I have tested for plan 22, and then we can retest it for the next year. So in this way, this is working basically. Let's try it for the another requirement we have, because we have few minutes remaining with us. We have some other sessions after this, so let's try it for the next requirement. So this same rule I will show you for the opening inventory using the MD shift function. So if you want to use the MD shift function, then again all the parameters are same here. The member name will take any valid single member name or member combination, or a function that returns a single member or member combination from which the, let me just expand this. I'm sorry for being so fast, because we need to cover at least two, because it is totally related to MD shift. That's why I want to cover it today only. So member name, it will take any valid single member name or member combination, or a function that returns a single member or member combination from which the values are to be shifted. So again it will take an integer for the shift count 1 to shift count x. We need to take an integer that defines the number of member positions to shift, right? Like if we see in the business rule, see, automatically at the rate MD shift, after that we need to specify the ending inventory. Okay, so this is the shift count 1. Then After that, dimension name. So dimension name we have used here for period dimension only, because we need to work this rule for the period dimension as well as the account dimension. So account we have already taken here, and then 11 months 5 we can because again we are using the same, like we want December month data to be carry forward to the opening inventory of next year. This is financial year 18 December data, and it will be carry forward to the next year FY19. Okay, then else, I mean first I have used the if condition, that if is member January, if this is true then this rule will work, else the opening inventory will equal to @prior. Here I have used the next function, that is @prior. Prior will be we can use for the previous year or anything which is prior to this particular. So ending inventory will be calculated, opening inventory equal to @prior parenthesis open ending inventory comma 1. So it will take financial year 19 ending inventory January, February, March to the next year February, March, April. Why? Because automatically the December data has been carried forward to the opening inventory of financial year 19, and then from FY 19 the January data will be carried forward to the next month. This is FY 19. So ending and opening is the difference between the inventories, and we just need to focus on carry forward is exactly doing or not. So this data will be carried forward to January, and this 3-month data will be carried forward to next 3 months of the same year. Okay, so we'll create one business rule. So we'll test on this particular scenario. So let's see how it works. So again I will just create one rule. Here I will give the name as opening inventory MD shift. Okay, edit script view. So again let me open the business rule I have created for this. So let's rewrite this. Here I will just fix the plan scenario. Then my member name should be there. Okay, one more thing, this opening inventory and closing inventory is not there in the demo application. I have tested, so we need to create it. So let's move to the dimensions first. Every time we create any kind of business rule, we must check it that whether the dimensions or members are exist in the application or not. Otherwise it will take a lot of time. See, we will create this in the miscellaneous, and I'm going to use the same member names. Opening inventory, basically it should come under the as a child of the cogs, but right now for the sake of testing I am taking it directly. Data storage, and if let's see, the account type should be saved assumption, because this is not a revenue or expenditure, so we have taken here the saved assumption. Simultaneously we will create the closing inventory. Let's have a quick refresh of database because sometimes what happens, we add the members, but it will not take in when we take there in the business rule or data form, because the database has not been refreshed, so it will not take those members which we have the newly added in the application. So this is the reason every time I recommend to refresh the database. All right, then now I can directly copy and paste, but I need to show you how you can do that. again we'll take the member name under the inverted comma. See, we have taken that, parenthesis open. Okay, after this we need to specify the condition. So if okay, I need to use @is member. Here I will just fix the January like this, and then if this is true that we have the January month period, then my condition will be opening inventory. Now we need to write the rule. Let's use the MD shift function. MD shift parenthesis open. We need to take the closing inventory again. Comma, again we are using it for the 11 months period. Period dimension should be there. -1 is used for the previous year, comma we are using the year dimension. All right, and the way I'm writing it should be exactly same, otherwise we cannot see the result, because it is all about the correct syntax. Even a single comma will throw an error, so every time it should be in mind that the way we are writing it should be correct. Okay, now else opening inventory opening inventory equal to prior @prior closing inventory comma 1. Okay, why we are writing in this way? Because we just want to apply the condition that if the member is January, because if we have the member January, then opening inventory will be calculated in this way. Otherwise opening inventory will take the prior year of the as a closing inventory. Okay, that's why we are using here comma 1. Then again close the close this with semicolon. Then we need to close the condition with and if, because we have opened the parenthesis here, then we need to close this. We have used one fix, so one and fix. I hope this is correct. Let's validate the same. See, the rule got validated without any errors. So just we need to take in mind that each and every syntax of writing the code should be correct. Deploy and then launch. So the rule ran without any errors. Now let's test the same. Okay, I need to reconnect it. Similarly, we have done this earlier. In the rows, I'll take all the years, period, sorry, not period, it is year dimension, then account, and then the entity. So let's pivot the year and let's take and just copy the members because we just want to work it on the same members. See, there is no data right now. I'll just enter the data because we want to take the December data to the opening inventory, the closing data. So I'll directly write the data here, 5000, and then we want January, February, March to be carried forward to the February, March and April, the next month. 6000, 6500, 8000. Let's submit the data, and now we'll just run the rule here. Opening inventory MD shift. Alright, let's have a refresh. See, we get the requirement exactly. Let me just highlight it so that you can get it better. Alright, so with yellow color I highlight December data, that is a closing value will be carried forward to the next year, that is 5000, and this January, February and March data, let's highlight with green, it will be carried forward to the next month. So I hope this is clear to you. So this is all for the day. Basically we have some other sessions continuing, so we will discuss the doubts. If you have, then you can write the doubts in the comment section, and we'll discuss in the next day, like tomorrow we'll discuss, but today we have just completed the MD shift function, and it is a very basic and easy way. I hope, Sanjay, it is clear to you also.
Yes, yes. Thanks a lot,
Okay,
Anjali.
okay, most welcome. So I'm just ending the session here. Thank you. Bye bye.